Have you ever heard the saying, "The police aren't your friends"? This isn't just a cynical phrase. It's a warning that could save your life. Today, I'm going to share a story about a man named Josh. His story is a chilling example of how silly your life can be turned upside down. Even when you believe you've done nothing wrong. It's a story of manipulation, a so-called confession, and a justice system that can fail the very people it's supposed to protect. This story begins with the worst nightmare any parent can imagine. Their baby is harmed, and they're the prime suspect. Josh knew he was innocent. He loved his baby more than anything. So, wanting to clear his name and find the real person responsible, he did what he thought was the right thing. He went to the police station, without a lawyer, fully believing the truth would set him free. The police asked him to take a lie detector test. Now, Josh has a history of mental illness, something that can make these tests notoriously unreliable. But he was desperate. Desperate to prove his innocence, desperate for justice for his child. He agreed. He only answered 2 questions. The first was his name. The second was, "Did you harm your baby?" He answered truthfully, "No." But then, something strange happened. The examiner turned to the detective and said there were signs of deception. Just like that. When Josh, confused and anxious, started asking the examiner questions about the process, the examiner simply said he didn't have to listen and walked out of the room, leaving Josh alone and bewildered. Now, let's rewind a bit. Back to the hospital, right after the baby was injured and the police first arrived. As a detective was taking Josh's initial statement, he made a chilling remark, looking directly at Josh. We already know who did this. The pressure was on from the very beginning. The detective pushed, saying, "You must know something." Then, they handed Josh a piece of paper. They told him to write down what he thought might have happened. Remember, Josh is under immense stress. His baby is in the hospital, and he's being treated like a criminal. He's trying to rack his brain for any possible accident, any tiny thing that could explain the injury. He wrote something down, too, according to Josh, both right after it happened and just the other day when I visited him in prison. His account has never changed. He wrote, "I laid baby on the floor for some belly time, and when I slightly removed my hand, her head may have hit the floor slightly." Notice the words, may have, and slightly. This wasn't a confession of a crime. It was a panicked father trying to cooperate, trying to brainstorm any possibility, no matter how remote. After he wrote it, the detective asked him to sign the paper, just so they'd know who wrote it. Josh, thinking nothing of it, signed his name. He had no idea he had just signed away his freedom. He was completely unaware that this piece of paper, this speculative note, would be twisted into a signed confession. After, everything spiraled. Josh found himself in front of a family court judge and was ordered out of his own home, separated from his child. He called me, frantic, trying to explain what was happening. And while we were on the phone, call waiting beeped. It was Child Protective Services from Ottawa County. The woman from CPS asked me what I knew, and I told her everything I'm sharing with you now. And then she dropped the bombshell. She told me they have a signed confession from Josh. I was stunned. A confession? I ended the call with the promise that someone would get back to me for a formal statement. No one ever did. I immediately called Josh back. I told him, "That piece of paper you signed, they're using it as a confession." The shock in his voice was real. He couldn't believe it. This is how it happens. This is the nightmare. This could happen to anyone. The police aren't always looking for the truth. Sometimes they're just looking to close a case. They can use tricks, they can manipulate you, they can even plant false memories in your mind when you're vulnerable and terrified. They do and need the truth to align with the physical evidence if they have what they can call a confession. Just yesterday, I called the detective who was on the case. I recounted what the note said. I laid the baby on the floor. Her head may have hit the floor slightly. Before I could even finish, she cut me off and said, "I know. I was there." We take confessions all the time. Just like that. So casual. For her, it was just another day at the office, another confession taken, another case closed. For Josh, it was the end of his life as he knew it. This is why I'm telling you this story. I need you to understand this critical lesson. If you are ever, for any reason, being questioned by the police, you need to know your rights. If you feel like you're being cornered, if you don't, feel free to leave. If they read you your Miranda rights, you say 2 words, "Lawyer." And then you say nothing else. Here's another trick they use. They might read you your rights, but then say they can't provide you with a lawyer right at that moment. They'll encourage you to talk anyway, just to clear things up. Don't fall for it. If there's no lawyer, you don't speak. If you are not under arrest, you have the right to walk out and leave. They want a statement from you, hoping you'll say something, anything, they can use to incriminate you. Once you do, they can place you in custody. Believe me, it's not a test of intelligence. Even the smartest people fall into this trap and end up in the system for something they never did. The pressure, the fear, the desire to seem cooperative, it's an overwhelming cocktail. Please, teach your friends, teach your family, teach your children. If the police want to question you, you say nothing. You call a lawyer. It doesn't matter how innocent you are, too. It doesn't matter if you think the truth will protect you. They can and will twist your words. They can make you pay for a crime you didn't commit. Josh's fight isn't over, and we're going to continue sharing his story and fighting for his freedom. Thank you for listening. Please share this video, because this knowledge could save someone you love from a devastating injustice. Follow for more updates on Josh's case.